the TMCSL Health Hour, and I'm here again, your host, Dr. Claudine Gosoco. So, for this episode, ang focus natin today is about food or nutrition in children naman. So, yung mga chikiting natin, kung ano yung magandang pakain natin sa mga kiddos natin at home, especially na the whole day nasa bahay lang sila and madalas talaga silang magugutom, and what kind of food can we give them na hindi naman bad for them or at least healthy pa rin naman. So, for today, our guest speaker is one of our pediatric gastroenterologists here in the Medical City South Luzon. And actually, very rare tong specialization or yung specialty na gastro in children. So, we're very honored na makasama natin today ang maganda and very young Dr. Angelica Hilario. Okay? Hi, Doc!
Hi, Dr. Thank you for that very kind introduction.
Yes. Doc, question muna before we go to our topic or discussion today. Meron ka bang mga kids at home also?
Wala. But I have nephews and nieces na this time of pandemic, talagang my sisters ask me about how to feed them kasi mahirap at this time of pandemic because they're always at home.
Yeah,
diba?
Yeah, oo nga. So, hindi naman, kasi di ba maya children like to play and then later on, magugutom sila. So, I'm sure may struggle din in sa mga mommies at home or yung mga dads at home what to prepare for them. So, let's start our discussion, Doc, with yung mga instant food. Okay, so yung mga, let's say yung mga noodles or yung mga ready to eat. Are these actually okay for children po?
For infants, kasi like in the first year of life, we have readily prepared or commercially prepared food, no? It's actually okay if you start your complementary feeding and then you start with the commercially prepared ones. It's not really that bad naman. So, but we advise lang that they choose a single ingredient first. Like for example, it just contains rice or it just contains banana so that you'll be able to observe the reaction of the child to the commercially prepared food. And it's very important for the parents or the caregivers to have to read the ingredient list, no? Because we don't want a lot of preservatives, and they also need to learn about the proper storage of these commercially prepared food. As for the older ones, diba, they like yung mga pancit canton, they like all of those other readily prepared noodles. For us, we don't really recommend it because if you read the ingredient list, they have a lot of added salt, and some of them, they have a lot of added sugar, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So we should actually encourage the parents to just prepare healthy meals and snacks for the children. It's better if it's home prepared because you have control over the variety and the nutritious content of the food versus those that are commercially prepared, especially the instant ones.
So, kasama na rin dyan, Doktora, yung mga chips, mga
Yes.
actually, di ba, usually mga biscuits, ganyan. So, I'm sure these are high in sugar content. So, okay lang ba yan, Doktora? Or can they actually give them for like a certain amount lang po? Pwede yun?
Okay, it's all about healthy choices. Kasi di ba, if for example, you can give the child biscuits and crackers, but instead of giving those crackers like yung mga Oreos or those with sugar, readily prepared sugar spread already, parang better if you just give, for example, crackers with cheese. So instead of giving the sweet ones, kasi the problem with giving them those snacks, it's really non-nutritious. It doesn't have any nutritional value, no? So better pa rin if you choose healthier options. So you give like whole grain crackers and whole grain, for example, cereals or oatmeals, and then you just add fruits if they want something sweet instead of giving those crackers with sugar fillings, no?
How about yung those children who are actually picky eaters, yung mahirap silang pakainin, talagang may certain food lang sila na gusto, and sometimes those certain foods are yung mga hotdog, yung mga nuggets. So, how can we actually encourage these kids to eat, especially yung mga nutritious ones, yung vegetables and fruits? Parang, ewan ko, ako wala pa din akong children or kids, pero parang pag naiisip ko siya, parang nakikita ko yung mothers na pinapakain yung children nila. Parang nahihirapan ako for them. So, how do we actually help these moms to deal with their children na picky eaters po?
Children who are picky eaters, they're very challenging. It's very difficult. I have seen mothers in my clinic that they really cry because their children are picky eaters. But the thing with picky eating is the best way to manage them is to actually prevent picky eating. No? So I always tell my patients, or like when I give like lectures, that food learning, it starts very early. And the first 2 years of life, it's the most critical period for them to learn. So what you do is you actually introduce a variety of food, especially the fruits and vegetables, early on. Kasi if it's what they are exposed to, if from the beginning you already expose them to vegetables which are more on bitter, right? Then they learn to eat that type of food. So they begin to introduce or accept new food, even if it's different in flavor or different in texture, so that in a way they will be able to eat more, and then they will be able to eat vegetables instead of those processed food like nuggets and hot dog. No? So, and the only way for the parents to really try to manage picky eating is, number one, they need to set feeding guidelines for their children. They need to model the eating behavior. So, pakita nila sa mga anak nila that they're eating healthy also. So, they're eating vegetables, they're eating fruits, and then they're not eating fast food or junk food or those processed food. Kasi if they see their parents that they're eating more nutritious food, then in a way, you try to prevent picky eating with that. And then it's also important to expose them. So repeated exposure is the key for them to eat healthier. So yung vegetables, you need to offer repeatedly and expose and expose and expose these children to vegetables and fruit and other healthy food for them to eventually accept it. So there's actually no magic. No? It's very difficult to manage picky eaters. So it will also depend on how picky they are, if they're just mildly selective or severe na, because some patients who are very severely picky, sometimes you need behavioral therapy for these children. That's why the key is prevention.
Parang ano lang din, start them young talaga. So, while they're young, we have to train them na in eating healthy. So, pero kasi parang, from what I also noticed, Doctor, like for other parents naman, during, for example, during the weekdays, sige, they ask that they feed their children with nutritious food, or they eat with yun, yung may vegetable, tapos may meat, tapos may rice, ganyan. But then on weekends, medyo sinuspoil naman nila yung children. So like, pinapakain ng chocolates, or minsan nga yung mga chicharon. Kasi syempre yun yung kinakain ng parents. Yeah, may cheat day. Pwede, okay lang ba yun, Doktora, for children also? Kasi more or less mga adults ganyan din, diba? So, or is it okay for children too?
Okay, if you're gonna be strict about it, mas magandang wala, diba? But sometimes they say na, Doktora, I don't want to deprive my child kasi kawawa naman, parang hindi man lang niya natitikman. And I say, okay, if you want to give them, it's okay. Like for example, once lang or twice lang, but you have to also discipline the child, that it doesn't mean that if you gave them like a certain type of food or like chocolate today, every day, pwede na silang mag-chocolate, no? Some parents, what they do is, they kind of like use it as a reward na para, o sige, you can have this treat if, for example, if you were able to achieve a certain goal. For example, the whole week, you are able to eat vegetables every day for 5 days, then okay, one day you can get a treat. Or for example, sa mga schoolwork nila, di ba? It's okay for as long as you can actually revert back to healthy eating after that. Hindi yung everyday, no? Kasi that's different if everyday that's what you give to your child. As a rough estimate for parents, no, we try to advocate the healthy plate or the pinggang Pinoy. So it's parang a visual guide for parents, no. So parang the best, of course, you need to give your carbohydrates, you need to give your proteins, and then your fats. And if you follow a healthy plate, you'll actually be able to give all the nutrients that a child needs. So, kailangan may variety rin sila. So, usually, half of the plate should be comprised of your fruits and vegetables. And then, 1/4 of the plate would be your viand. So, yung ulam, it can be chicken or pork or beef, no? And then, another 1/4 of the plate would be your grains. So, parang yun na yung mga carbohydrates mo. So, you will, it's either you give bread, pasta, or mashed potato. Yung one misconception kasi ng parents is that ang potato is gulay. Pero hindi. Actually, if you look at the healthy plate, dun siya sa part ng mga grains mo. So, pag binigyan mo na siya ng potato, kasama na dun yung parang as a serving for the rice, no? And in younger children kasi, what we try to encourage is you just give them little portions of food kasi it's very difficult for you to say that, okay, you just need 10 grams of protein for today. Example lang yun. So, for parents, hindi naman nila alam kung ano yung parang 10 grams, no? So, the healthy plate will actually guide you also as to the proportion of food that a child needs to eat. Pero in younger children, just give them small portions, and then if they want more, if they want a second or third serving, it's okay kasi they will learn na busog na sila. Kasi yung children naman, if they're already full, then they will stop eating. Yun yung parang that's one thing that when I said that you need feeding guidelines for children, isa yon sa dapat na matutunan nila kapag kung kailan na sila busog and kung kailan sila gutom. So, yun yung one way, no, for them to learn about it. You just serve age-appropriate food and also the serving, no, para ano sila. That's why you need healthy choices. Kasi kung madami, medyo malakas silang kumain and then you're giving unhealthy food, then they will really be prone to obesity. Kapag madami puro fast food, ang dami pang kumain. So, but if you're giving them large amounts of vegetables, large amounts of fruits, I mean, not really large, but a good amount, then healthy pa rin siya.
So, alam niyo na, mga mommies, anong pupuntahan niyo mamaya pag nag-grocery kayo? Doon kayo sa fruits and vegetable section. Hindi doon sa chocolates at saka chips section. Ako, hindi tayo pwede doon. Okay, so I think that's all for today's episode, Doktora. Ang dami po namin natutunan. Thank you so much. And any last words po for our viewers, yung mga mommies natin with their children at home?
Okay, so for the mommies, I know that it's difficult, no, to prepare healthy meals, especially if you're busy. But then just try. The effort will be enough because just think that if your child is healthy, that they'll be able to grow and reach their full potential. So healthy eating is still key to great development in your child.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that very nice encouragement. Dr. Laika Hilario, once again, our pediatric gastroenterologist in the Medical City, South Luzon. So thank you, Doctor, for your time again. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for your time today. And watch out for another episode next time for here in TMCSL Health Hour. Goodbye!